In this video, I'm gonna break down exactly what you need to do to get in amazing shape to build the physique that you want if you work a very, very busy week. If you work 50 hours, if not more across the week, you're a business owner, you work in corporate, you work multiple jobs, you're a super busy guy. These are the type of guys that we work with. We've had loads of guys that come on board with us at FitLab, and I'll put some results on the screen now with some of the guys that I can distinctly remember being, business owners or entrepreneurs or guys that have really got not that much time on their hands, but have gotten into amazing shape using very, very, very similar, systems and frameworks that I'm going to talk about now to allow you to get there. Now, the thing is that most men do not need more time, okay? It's not a time issue as to why men are not in shape and they're not where they want to be. It's actually more down to the fact they have no system and they have no clear structure of really what's important. And what we need to realize, guys, is that it goes down to Pareto's principle, which is essentially, 80% of the result is to come down to 20% of our efforts, okay? So like we get a huge ROI if we know exactly what it is that we need to do, which is going to get us results without having to put loads of effort in, okay? So if we want to get 80% of the result by putting in 20% of the work, we need to know what it is that really does make the difference from actually doing that. And it's really important that we have a understanding of what we're doing and not wasting time doing things that will not move the needle forward, okay? There are these like kind of big rocks that you need to be focusing on that probably the same as maybe within your business, within your career, that you need to apply to your training and to your nutrition as well, that will allow you to start really getting results and getting predictable results, and stop making the excuse that time is the reason why you're not in shape right now. It is not down to a lack of time, guys. I'm telling you that now, okay? And I get it if you're busy, and you've got a lot of things on, you're very stressed. I can understand why it's easy to make that excuse. But the reality is that life is not gonna slow down. When it does slow down, you're probably gonna be retired. By that point, it's probably gonna be too far, you'll probably be too out of shape, you'll be too miserable, your health's probably gonna be too far gone. And I'm not saying this to worry you guys, I'm actually just saying this to be incredibly realistic, that you have to sort this, regardless of how much time that you've got, you have to make things work, okay? The best time to start was freaking yesterday. The second best time to start a transformation is now, okay? So stop using time as an excuse and start understanding how can I utilize my time as best as I can so that I start getting amazing results. So let me break this down for you guys. I'm gonna give you a very simple kind of exact system and framework and a real approach here that's just gonna allow you to be able to follow this exactly so you can get incredibly good results if you're super busy and obviously you are feeling like time is a little bit thin at the moment. Okay, number one, guys. Now, like the reality with this is that this does not take you time, okay? And like, I really wanna try and stress this, okay? Like people are, I haven't got the time. And I'm gonna explain what I mean by this now, is that you have the time to control your calories. Like, this isn't down to time. It's like, as a human, we have to eat. It doesn't matter how busy you are, like you have to eat food. That is just part of being a human, right? As we know. So to say that you can't control your calories, I haven't got time to track my food. Okay, well, you've got time to scroll Instagram, you've probably got time to send text messages, you've probably got time to send emails. You've got time to do those things, but you haven't got time to control your calories. We need to work this out, guys, is that this is like 80% of the transformation. And honestly, like eating the right amount of calories every single day it's literally mind-blowing how important this is. That's it. If we eat the right amount of calories every single day, I'm in a calorie deficit, like you're gonna lose fat, you're gonna lose weight. And then that gut, that midriff that you wanna see losing, the love handles, if you just controlled your calories, you'll be able to see a huge difference. Obviously there's other things I'm gonna touch on, but this is literally so important. If we just use a very simple calorie calculating app like MyFitnessPal, and we're very consistent and we're religious with tracking our food, and I know it's boring, but if we do that, we're going to lose weight. It's very predictable. If we know that we're consuming this amount of food every day, we know we're going to be losing fat at the kind of rates that we want. It doesn't matter how busy you are. Get MyFitnessPal, start hitting your calories. I suggest you start at probably, I'd say around like, I'm going to say 10 calories per pound, because let's just say if you're super busy, we might not have the time to be doing a crazy amount of activity. So put yourself in a deficit of about 10 calories per pound every single day, okay? And that's gonna give you a nice calorie deficit, and we're gonna make sure that we start consistently tracking food. This is what we do with all of our guys. The transformations, the guys that we've worked with, they're super busy. We get them to track their food. We get them to understand what they're consuming every single day so they can actually start getting predictable results. And then the second thing with this, guys, again, I've touched on this a lot in other videos. You probably know what's coming, that we're not just here to lose weight, okay? We're actually here to lose fat, okay? Big difference, right? What we want to do is we want to focus on our protein intake every single day. Protein intake, because if we're just focused on calories without focusing on your protein, probably going to get a bit skinny fat. You're going to lose weight, which arguably is going to make you look better for sure, but like, we still want to be actually improving our body composition. Body composition improvements come down to protein intake, okay? So you want to probably aim for like 1 gram per pound, right? So when you're setting this up, like straight away with MyFitnessPal, really, really simple. I want you to focus on calories per pound. 1 gram per pound of your protein. Honestly, like when it comes to like carbs and fats, guys, like they don't really matter that much. Carbs/fat ratio is kind of irrelevant. And there's been studies that show this as well. It doesn't really make a difference. So when people stress, and again, we're talking about being time strapped here and, you know, not having their time to be able to worry loads about macros, just worry about protein and calories. Honestly, like carbs and fat ratio, it doesn't really make that much of a difference, okay? It doesn't really change things that much. So I just wouldn't really worry that much in regards to if you're sometimes a bit higher on your fats, sometimes a bit higher on your carbs. As long as you're hitting these two, you're still gonna lose fat and you don't have to worry too much and get too stressed about the other ones. Next up, guys, very simply, but we just need to be making sure that we're lifting weights, and we're gonna wanna be aiming to do this like 3 to 4 days per week, okay? Now, I'm sorry, guys, okay? You cannot get out of this. This is probably where the most amount of time is really gonna be spent. This is where you just have to prioritize your time to be able to make sure that you do this, because this is what's gonna keep you young, okay? This is what's gonna keep you looking good, keep you looking buff, right? Lifting weights. The biggest ROI in the gym is lifting weights. So if we're talking about time and not being able to spend loads of time in the gym, lift weights. Don't worry about cardio for now. It's not as important as what needs to be able to get in amazing shape, okay? And you can focus on the activity from actually outside the gym, which is what I'm gonna get onto in a second. But no, you just have to make sure you prioritize the time for doing this. Now, if you're super busy, like 3 days a week is absolutely fine, guys. Like you don't need to be in the gym 4 days per week, 3 days per week, 45 minutes to an hour per session. Honestly, that's all it needs to be. When you equate this across a 168-hour week, it's like 1% of your week. Now, obviously, there'll be people that will probably say, oh, what about the travel and that kind of stuff? Oh, you might have to add a little bit more time on for that. But I said this so many times before, you should not be traveling more than 20 minutes to get to the gym. Like there must be gyms closer to you. The most important thing about a gym is convenience. It should be within 5-10 minute drive from your work or your house. You're in, you're out, you're there. Every single time I travel, I go to Dubai, I go to Bali, I go to Thailand, I always find the closest gym, right? It's not always the one I train at all the time, but when I have a little bit less time, I always make sure I find the closest gym that I can go to, because it makes such a difference for me, okay? I know that I haven't got much time sometimes, and my willpower sometimes can be a bit questionable. So if I make sure that my gym is so close, it's so easy for me to be able to never ever miss a session, okay? So again, 3 days per week, and if you genuinely live in one of those places where like there's just not many gyms, maybe you're a bit rural, I would heavily suggest that you invest in some home equipment. We've had loads of guys do that. It's a one-time investment. Once you've got it for life. It's so simple, guys. So make sure that you're doing that, and then you'll find that actually getting to the gym 3 days per week or lifting weights 3 days per week is actually just not unrealistic at all. And it's something that most guys have got the time for. So number 4, and again, this is the only, one way you could probably argue there's like a little bit more time that would be needed here, essentially, but it's not that much, okay? 8 to 10,000 steps per day. Okay, if you're freaking super busy and you're like office-based, can't move, 8,000 steps per day. You should be getting that, guys. This is just like, you're a human. Like you should be walking around, you should be moving, right? You have to find the time to be able to do it. Go for a quick walk in the morning. Maybe get a quick walk in after your workout. Maybe go for a quick walk at lunchtime when you're doing some calls and some meetings. Like if you're actually serious about productivity as well, and you are watching this, maybe you are a business owner or you're someone that wants to really like try and get your brain to function at the highest. Like moving is the key thing. Like you cannot keep focused from just continually locking in and working all the time. Your body just gets distracted. You lose focus, you're losing productivity, and it's been shown in studies. Like even after like an hour, like 30 minutes, guys, we start to get distracted. We need to take breaks. The break can easily just be going for a quick walk around the block. Lunchtime, go for a walk around, do a loop, try and find somewhere to walk. So getting the steps in should not be that much of a challenge. It might feel, to start with, a little bit uncomfortable if you've never had to really focus on that before. But the thing is about step count is that over time, habits build, things get easier, you start to get way more consistent. So what feels difficult at the start eventually starts to feel really simple. But 8 to 10,000 steps per day should be an absolute priority. You must make sure that you do this. And again, I just don't think, even if you're a super busy guy, that you haven't got the time to be able to get those steps in, okay? Get your freaking Whoop band, get an Apple Watch, and make sure you start tracking step count. I haven't even said about cardio. You don't need to worry about doing cardio. Don't worry about doing runs. Don't worry about doing all those other things, which if there is time that magically comes up, we can bring those things in later down the line. But I'm talking about the absolute minimum things required to get into amazing shape, okay? Which would just be doing 18,000 steps per day and lifting weights. They're the ones that really take the most amount of time here in regards to what we've spoken about so far. Next up, guys, very, very, very simple. Again, with this one, like all we need to do here, okay, and this isn't even going to take any time, this is about being freaking sensible, is just manage your weekends, okay? Like for some of you, you might even be working at weekends. I work a lot of weekends and I like it, I enjoy it. I like the structure of the weekends and stuff, the way that I'm doing that at the moment. But you need to manage your weekends in terms of getting in shape, okay? If you work incredibly high pressure, high stress job and you get to the weekend, you're like, oh, finally time to relax, get a wine out, have a beer, maybe have a takeaway. All those things are just gonna pull you off track. I'm sorry, but like you haven't deserved to be able to abuse your body at the weekend just because you've had a stressful week at work. And if that's how you feel genuinely, then good luck getting in shape, because you're never gonna be able to get there, okay? You have to treat weekends just as seriously as what you did in the week, with your nutrition and potentially with your training as well. Because let's be real, if you work an incredibly busy job and you find that in the week you haven't got much time, training at the weekend is great. I always train at weekends and I actually leave my longest workouts for weekends. So my long run Sunday, I genuinely look forward to doing a long run on a Sunday, especially in Bali because of the run clubs. It is a massive thing for me that I enjoy, okay? It's like a 90-minute run. So in the week, it's questionable whether I'd have time for that sometimes, but in the weekends, I can get it done. So managing the weekends becomes key. Fitness at the weekends, working out on the weekends if you've got the time and you've got the ability to do that, and ultimately controlling calories, because as we know, this is where things can often go pear-shaped. We have to have a plan at the weekends. Stop smashing loads of alcohol, stop eating loads of crappy foods, and make sure that you manage your weekends effectively, because if you do that, again, you'll find that getting in shape becomes so much more simple. And then next up, guys, again, we're going to start to hammer a big basic here, but it's something that often gets very much forgotten. We need to be sleeping 7 hours plus per night, okay? Ideally a little bit more, but I'm guilty of probably saying that I say I'm around 7 to 8 hours per night. And that, again, is absolutely fine. I'm talking, some of you guys that are very, very busy, you might think, well, I've got to be up at 5 a.m. or I've got to be up at 6, get to sleep at 11. So it's not like I can say, I sleep 8 to 9 hours per night, because sometimes that's just not logical for a lot of people. So the quality of your sleep and making sure that you still prioritize that as much as possible, even if you're getting 6, 7 hours, super important, okay? Getting in shape, again, is very difficult without quality sleep. It's very hard to be able to sustain a calorie deficit. It's very hard to turn up in the gym and maintain motivation. It's very hard to stop cravings coming through when we're not sleeping. All these things become a lot more difficult when we lose the functionality of being able to get good sleep. So it's so important that we're prioritizing it as much as possible. Don't lose sleep, okay? Make sure that you hammer your sleep routine. And again, I'm talking to you guys that actually want to stay productive, the guys that want to have really high levels of productivity with your job, with your career. You're not going to do that without sleep. You might think that you can do that over time. You think, oh yeah, I don't need much sleep. But over time, guys, it just catches up. It always does. And especially as you start to get older as well, catches up. You're going to start to feel more kind of off your usual game. You're going to start to have more brain fog. You're going to start to feel more tired. Your moods are going to start to suck. And then again, like it kind of means that all these things in general will start to suffer just as a result of not getting enough sleep. And the last thing, guys, again, is really important, but a lot of people forget. Excuse my absolutely horrendous handwriting here because it's a bit of a difficult position to get to, but I will explain it so you guys can actually see. That's meant to say repeat. It doesn't really look like that at all. But anyway, this is a 6-month project, okay? If you are a guy that you want to get in amazing shape, you want to get lean, okay, and you don't feel like you got much time, stop thinking this is going to happen overnight. Stop thinking you're just going to miraculously wake up one day and have that 6-pack just because you had a week of putting in the work. This is going to take time. You need to allocate 6 months, if not more, to transforming your body properly and going through the right process, doing all these unsexy things over a consistent period of time to get these kind of results. And that is the only way you're ever going to get there. Okay, there is no cheat code, there is no magic pill or bullet that you can take. Okay, it is about repeating this process and being very consistent, which is where a lot of guys struggle, over time, so that we can eventually get this result and we can obviously maintain it from there. Okay, all these things can be put into a 50-hour week. They are not that time consuming. The only real ones that actually require a little bit of time would be lifting weights, which we can program these in like meetings into our calendars so we never miss them. 3 times per week is 3 hours. It's not that freaking long. And the step count, again, being more active, planning a little bit more activity into your calendar, not difficult at all. The only other one you could even argue is possibly sleep. But Jesus, if we haven't got time to sleep, I would argue you're a busy fool rather than someone who's super busy with your job and with your career, because sleep is an absolute fundamental, guys. So realistically, when you break this down in terms of how long this actually takes and the time required to get into shape, bearing in mind this is the freaking blueprint to get in insanely good shape. Most guys have got the time. They just haven't had the structure and things explained to them like this, where they actually realize, okay, yeah, no, that does actually make sense. They think, oh, I need to to be doing 60 minutes on the stepper every single day. Oh, I need to be doing freaking, you know, low carb diets that require 3 hours of meal prep every single evening in my little Tupperwares so that, you know, I can go to work and I can take them with me. People think it's going to take so much more time and effort than what it actually is. It's just, it's a problem. It's an educational problem. It's a guidance, it's a system problem where they haven't had these things explained to them the way that I've hopefully educated and enlightened some of you today in regards to what really needs to happen to move this needle forward. So anyway, guys, I hope you find this video useful. Make sure you smash the like button, make sure you hit subscribe, and as always, I'm going to catch you in the next one.